Hi, St. David's. I am back from 2 weeks of vacation, and so I wanted to offer a meditation today on how important rest and restoration is to us in our spiritual lives. Jesus is always going off by himself to pray and taking time away from the crowds and his ministry to renew himself. And so Jesus has to do it. I'm pretty sure we do too. One of the things that I have found really helpful in my life is to have a rule of life. It is a way of balancing our lives by saying what is important to us, and not necessarily rules to follow, but goals, and a way to be mindful about how we spend our time and where we invest our energy. Because if we're not careful, it kind of gets sucked up and lost, and we don't know where it's gone. So some components to having a rule of life are participation in worship, both corporate worship and personal prayer, study, service, and an examination of conscience, which is kind of just a check-in. It's a way of checking in to see if there's anything that you need to confess or repent of, to turn away from, and to do better with. Retreat or vacation is part of a rule of life, and relationships are also a part of a rule of life. So when you think about a rule of life, you also can think of it on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, and an annual basis. So for example, I take time every day to spend with my family, obviously, but I also spend time annually with my larger, wider family. So I like to when I take vacation, I prefer to spend time with visiting relatives and going to the beach with my extended family. And that's not something I can do on a daily basis, but it's definitely something that I put in my life on an annual basis. Same thing with study. I read and have that as part of my weekly rule of life, but I also have continuing ed for being a priest. And so I make sure every year that I spend time learning, and I invest money and time into that as well. So I know that this time in our world is really crazy with this pandemic, and we're having to make decisions about things that we haven't normally, and a lot of things have been canceled. But even in the midst of that, even in the midst of camps and vacations and things being canceled, it's still critically important to our spiritual lives that we find this balance, and that we make a way to be holding true to all the things that we know that we need in our lives. So even in the midst of this time, I hope and pray that you can find some time to relax and to unplug, some ways to be more intentional about your relationships and about your learning, and that you find a way, even in this time, to prioritize those things that you know that you need, and especially the things that you might be neglecting right now because of what we're going through. So I hope that you can take a minute today and really think about where you need to put some more time and energy. Give yourself permission to unplug and to be intentional about balance, because we need you to be healthy and happy and spiritually connected for the long haul, because there is a lot of work to do. God bless you all. Bye.